Remember, you're not getting this news anywhere else. Okay, no one else is showing you video of black helicopters in Denver. We're doing that. No one else is covering this breaking BBC conspiracy files. It's been talked about, but we're going to be the first ones to show you this on air. So let's just go to it. Let's pop it up, and let's play the clip.
Building 7 is the smoking gun of 9/11. It is the most obvious example of controlled demolition.
It's not real. The materials and the technologies just aren't there. If they were, I'd know.
In the building, I heard explosions. Outside of the building, I heard explosions.
I saw this building, which had never been hit by a plane, come crashing straight down. For it to fall symmetrically and completely and rapidly was quite astounding.
Could one use a controlled demolition on any building? Sure. Did it happen to WTC 7 on 9/11? No, it did not.
As far as I know, that's the first time it's happened in architectural history. A steel high-rise building has collapsed simply because of damage and fire.
You could hear the building creak, you could hear things fall, you could hear the fire burning, and you could hear the destruction way above it.
No steel frame high-rise building has ever collapsed due to fire.
You have to look at what was inside Building 7. You had the largest Secret Service field office outside of Washington, D.C. You had the largest CIA field office. You had a number of government agencies inside the building.
And I think we're just about the last ones in this building right now. I think you should leave. Everybody else is gone.
The first explosion I heard when I was on the stairwell in. Like a boom. Like an explosion.
Jane, what more can you tell us about this collapse?
Details are very, very sketchy.
The entire half-inch of the beam is gone, entirely dissolved. Something happened to cause the steel to really thin and in some places to disappear entirely.
Building 7 is the first high-rise building in the world that has collapsed solely due to
Well, there you have it, folks. The BBC, first time the PrisonPlan.tv subscribers are seeing it. And I want to review it one more time before we go to callers, and we're going to take your calls right now. You have Sandar at the end there. He's the guy that said 25% of the building was scooped out. Total nonsense. You have Richard Clark on there. Total apologist, total official version. At best, not even a lie-hop guy. More of a, oh, we're so incompetent. He's scum, okay? He's total and complete scum. I'm going to say it again. Richard Clark is scum. And Lizzo getting up there and saying, I'd know about it. I'd know about it. Really? Would you tell about it? Because you have a bunch of government contracts and, you have a family-owned business called Controlled Demolition Incorporated that cleaned up the World Trade Center. These people are criminals, folks. They need to be brought to justice.
I also had a question. Like I said, I talked to you previously, and we talked about just getting a membership to Prison Planet TV, the plethora of information that's there. And I recently was listening to an old MP3 of Alex's where he talked to Hopsicker.
Sure, Daniel Hopsicker, sure. He did Muhammad Atta and the Venice Flying Circus.
Right, and I can't find that on Prison Planet TV. I don't know if anybody
if it's not there, it's probably somewhere archived in the free archives over at prisonplanet.com. I'd say run a couple Google searches. Give me a MySpace message. I'll see if I can dig it up for you.
Okay.
I really dig Hopsicker's research because he goes into the fact that the hijackers indeed had very odd intelligence ties, and on top of the intelligence ties, they had ties to being drug dealers. I mean, these guys weren't radical Islamists. They were cokeheads that were down at strip clubs. Let's be real, folks. Let's go to Wes in Idaho. Wes, are you with us? What's on your mind, Wes?
Hello, Jason.
Yes, how are you, sir?
Oh, not too bad. Wanted to comment on vaccinations, flu shots, and allergy shots. Don't hear much about allergy shots, but on November 22nd, 1963, I just turned 13 years old. I was given an allergy shot and nearly died from a reaction. This term that Alex continues to use, I just heard, tainted vaccinations, is misleading. There has never been any scientific proof that vaccinations, and I'll add flu shots and allergy shots, are safe and effective.
No, I'm with you. You're right. I mean, I guess that he uses that for the layman's just coming into this. You're right. All these vaccinations are poison, in my opinion. I don't trust any of them. You know.
Well, you can add flu shots and allergy shots to those as well. I don't hear much discussion about allergy shots. I'd like to know exactly what I was shot up with those years
Well, I'll tell you
back.
what, why don't you go down to nvic.org and see what kind of information you can dig up over there. We had a great guest on earlier today discussing it, but when somebody called me up and asked me if I would take any of these vaccinations or any of these shots, I flat out said no. I am not saying that every single shot out there is pure and complete poison, but I'm not putting it past them, and I'm not taking the stuff. I thank you for the call, Wes. Let's go to Rodney in Kentucky. Rodney, are you there?
Jason Burmis, man, you're doing a fantastic job, sir.
Well, thank you, man.
On the heels of your special guest you had, I'd just like for everybody that's out there to crack open their Bible today and take a look at Psalm 9:17. It'll kind of just ponder it for a minute or two. The reason I called you is I want to know, I know you can't give a definite answer, but where is the line drawn? When is too much enough? You know, I mean, I look at the video. My big thing, the line in the sand for me is the kids. People out there that have children. I look at the video of the 16-year-old boy, you know, in the video. Now, then I'm not trying to be Michael Reagan at all, so I won't even, you know, go down that line. But if that was my son...
You're talking about, hold on, you're talking about the kid. Let's be clear here. You're talking about the kid who had his teeth knocked out. In fact, let's play the video.
By an officer, yeah.
Yeah, let's play it. Hold on one second. We'll get back to your call in a moment.
Sure.
Let me make sure that I'm actually on there. Am I on there? Do we have it? Do we have the video for the... There it is right there. All right. Let's play it.
Police officer caught on tape slamming a teenager's head into a wall. He knocked out 3 of the young man's teeth. It happened after the 16-year-old was arrested for violating rules at a transit center. You also see the 16-year-old being dragged across the floor. The officer is suspended without pay. An investigation found the officer used excessive force, but concluded that the teen's injuries were, quote, unintentional.
Yeah, unintentional. My God. They just took this kid, smashed his face into a cinder block or brick wall, and put the guy down. I mean, this is a 16-year-old kid against a grown man, and I got to tell you, although you know there's lines to be drawn in the sand, my line was drawn when I found out about 9/11. That was it. You know, that's when I decided to get active. But I think it's different for everybody. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I agree with you 100% because I buy 50 blank DVDs every 2 weeks and copy Loose Change 2nd Edition, Freedom to Fascism, and Martial Law 9/11 and hand them out. But what I'm saying is with this is one of these times where I'm not calling for anybody to do anything. I'm saying if that was my son, I have a 15-year-old son, a 5-year-old daughter. If that man had laid his hand on my son like that, I would give him something to remember that by for the rest of his life. Every time he couldn't use his right arm or walk with a limp for the rest of his life, he'd think about that. I mean, that's something like that. That's our children. That is the next generation. That is your flesh and blood. And if you just sit by and let people do something like that to you, I mean, that to me, that something has to be done about that.
I'm with you, man. I'm glad you're so fired up because that should get you fired up. Thanks for the call, Rodney. You know, another thing that totally fires me up, and another thing I said to this young gentleman who asked me about my Infowars.com bracelet was I was like, look, I'm going to lay it out for you right now. You're telling me that you have no power, you can't do anything about it. I'm going to just let you know who runs things, okay? The people that say that they're Christian conservatives, that you praise as your leaders, are occultists that are into pedophilia, that like to rape little kids, okay? That's the bottom line. That should be enough. Okay? A lot of these guys get caught. Look at Foley. Foley was heading up like the CPS division of the government. You know, he was, we need to protect the children. What's he get caught doing? He's paging 16-year-old boys. Dennis Hassert has lived with his male assistant now for years and years and years and years. We know about Barney Frank getting caught back in the 80s when I think he was still a Republican with an underage male brothel in Connecticut. Okay? The horror stories that have come out of the Bohemian Grove via the Franklin cover-up. Go watch Conspiracy of Silence. You think you got a strong stomach? It's 45 minutes long. It's on YouTube. And I'll tell you what, the first time I came across the information, I couldn't keep my lunch.